Welcome to Perspectives on Social Justice. We're continuing to give the world a voice. I am Lairalaine White, your host, and I am excited because we are still celebrating Women's History Month. We continue our observance of this very special time by recognizing the importance of women as a moving force in the farming engine. Women in agriculture are helping to pave the way for a better future. And as leaders, it is the responsibility of women in agriculture to make sure that the next generation of farmers, especially those of female farmers, are educated, encouraged, empowered to take on the challenges of meeting the world's growing food, fuel, and fiber needs. The atmosphere is rich in the spirit of gender equity and entrepreneurship. And so there's a unique opportunity to be the change as agrarian women that we want to see in our industry and build on the incredible legacy of stewardship, innovation, and productivity in the realm of agriculture. The agrarian woman has a powerful story to tell, one of stewardship, resilience, and leadership. And so what I've done is I've invited some agrarian women. I will start out by introducing one of the leaders of the industry, and they are doing some moving and shaking. And we're going to get started with Miss Carol Boyd. Thank you for joining us. You and your husband are doing some outstanding things in the realm of social justice, especially in your work as activists. That you are leading farmers and leading African American farmers in the industry. And I want you to introduce yourself and just talk a little bit about what you're doing in the realm of agriculture.
Well, thank you for having me, and it's truly an honor to be here. And to be a woman in agriculture time is they're telling me to go away because John's over there recording.
Go ahead.
We have been, we did a congressional hearing today, the first full committee hearing ever with the U.S. House Ag Committee. It's being chaired by the first African-American representative, chairman, David Scott. And so, my husband, John Boyd, is the founder and president of the National Black Farmers Association. He's led the Black Farmers Movement for over 3 decades. Mm-hmm. And to have been an advocate for debt relief and Black farmer justice, and to have the emergency relief for farmers of color be passed in the American Rescue Act, American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 for $5 billion for farmers of color. It's historic. It's a very huge victory. And it's not coming without pushback. So that, is what we're doing. We're continuing the fight, and through the National Black Farmers Association, we provide advocacy, outreach, and direct technical assistance. Awesome. And program, it's called Let's Get Growing, and I have a website. It's called wegrowfarmers.com. And that's the thing, is the NBFA, we provide all of our technical assistance, workshops, webinars, and even our annual conference is free of charge. We feel like, we're here to help the farmers, and people want to support our organization, then, they can join and be a supporting member. But it's not a requirement. If a farmer calls and he has questions, or someone calls and they need some information, we're going to help them. And so, I'm very glad to be a part of the Black Farmers Movement, but more so a part of the National Black Farmers Association, where I serve as the event and program coordinator.
You see, just moving and shaking. This show is all about what women are doing in farming, and you are doing a tremendous amount of work, tremendous work. And we applaud you. We applaud the efforts of both you and your husband, you both made history in the work that you do. We're going to move on. We also have with us Miss Katherine Juhan-Arnold. She is a farmer here in the state of Georgia, and I'm going to let her introduce herself to you and tell you all about. Let her toot her horn and tell you all about what she's doing in the realm of farming. Go ahead, Katherine.
Hi, everyone. My name is Katherine Juhan-Arnold. I run BabyKaties Farm and Kitchen. We're a nonprofit located in Snellville, Georgia. Basically, our premise is grow your own and feed the community.
Mm-hmm.
People and not for profit. We recently reopened, literally 3 days ago, we reopened. So right now we're doing juice orders, smoothie orders, and our microgreens. Our CSA box should be up by May 13th, I believe is the first day that the boxes go out. And yeah, just blessed to be able to be open again. Things have been so strange.
Yes, yes, they have.
This is on the farm.
But just like Kara, Mrs. Boyd, I applaud your efforts in doing what you do, and especially when it benefits your community. And we have another mover and shaker in as an agrarian woman, Miss Belinda Jones. And Miss Jones, I'm gonna let you introduce yourself and tell the world what you do as an agrarian woman.
Well, thank you. Hello, everybody. I work alongside my husband, Tony. He and I are the founders and owners of Glory Homestead Farm here on beautiful St. Helena Island in South Carolina. And we are a small family-owned, diversified farm that we grow vegetables, and we raise primarily three types of poultry. Chickens, ducks, and turkeys. And we're also beekeepers, and we're working to preserve the Gullah culture here on St. Helena and along the Gullah Geechee corridor, and also to encourage people to grow their own food and become more familiar with, where their food comes from, and have a participatory part in what they eat, and rather than just picking off the shelves, but knowing where things come from and connecting with local farmers if they're not able to garden themselves.
Gotcha. Well, we're going to jump right into our dialogue. Kara, I'll start with you because I know you have a lot going on over there at the Boyd Family Farms. One of the questions that our viewers, I'm sure, would like to know is, what have you experienced as a woman? Have you experienced any obstacles? We know in the African American community, but as a woman, have you experienced any obstacles in trying to be a woman in farming?
Well, of course I have, and especially coming into when I married John, he already had, an established farm.
Mm-hmm.
And so trying to make my way into that farm operation, kind of carve out my niche. And so there are things that I actually do on the farm that I report to NRCS and FSA. So I
Uh-oh, I think you're we lost your audio. So yeah, we can't hear you. We lost your audio.
how about
Try again.
Yeah.
Okay, we lost your audio.
yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna move on. Katherine, talk to us about the obstacles that you have faced as a woman in trying to establish it, because you have a pretty good establishment there.
Thank you. There have been lots of barriers, just too many barriers. People don't see the farmer as a woman. They see, oh, that's the farmer's wife. I'm sure Miss Sarah and Mrs. Morning Glory Homestead are familiar. I know Miss Belinda is very familiar. They don't see as a farmer, and it's probably because you think, oh, McDonald, farmer in the books with the little straw sticking out of his mouth, but it's like we grow things too. So just the main barrier is just being seen.
Mm-hmm.
It's just being seen.
Yes, I understand. I understand. What about you, Belinda?
Yeah, I can totally agree with that. Oftentimes, people are quite surprised to find out that something that we're doing was my idea. Or like, oh, you thought of that? Oh, oh, you do the website? Oh, you came up with that idea? It's like, they can't believe that I would have known how to come up with some um, an idea that would be would be successful. It's more often attributed to be something that Tony would have thought of, or that.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. So I'm more or less in the background, in many people's eyes, not necessarily everybody, but the idea is that I'm just tag along, basically.
Right. The little and all of that. Yeah. I've noticed that as I have visited farms in the past 2 years, that I'll go out and say, hey, I'm learning. I really want to learn, I want to get my hands dirty. I want to, and so I'll go out. Now, this doesn't happen. This happens a lot when I go and visit farmers that are just male, like they might be married, but their wife isn't participating, or I'll go and visit a farm that's being run by a farming manager that's a male. And so I said, oh, I really want to learn, and so they will have me doing other things besides, like the heavy lifting, the picking, actually going out into the field. Oh, ma'am, I know you don't want to go and you don't want to walk over there because it's so wet. And I mean, I'm standing here, I have boots on, and I'm ready to go. So I noticed that it's almost like an unwritten rule that women are not supposed to do certain types of farm work. That's kind of the impression that I get. Now, when I go, like I know, Belinda, when I come to Morning Glory, it's okay because we're walking out there. We picked those greens the last time I was there, and I just love every minute of it. So I'm an outdoorsy girl, but I do recognize some of the things that the girls are saying about being a tag along. I thought that's very interesting. And I would imagine that when it's even on the business side, when you have to go and apply for funds and you have to, do your insurance and that type of thing, that it's like understood that, okay, where's Mr. So and so? They're looking around and they just make certain assumptions. It's amazing. How is the situation for African American women, or women, period, working in agriculture different than that in other countries that you all know about?
Oh, wow. I'm amazed at the number of women on the continent of Africa who are farming. They
Mm,
are leading the way in farming, and there's such a appreciation for what they're doing and their entrepreneurship. And I've just been following some of them on YouTube to just get ideas, and it is just amazing what the reception is there and how they are not perceived as women who should have been in the background. However, on the other hand, they are the culture that they represent is like the almost like the hunter gatherer kind of societies where the men go out and do the hunting and bringing in the food, and the women plant the gardens and build the huts and that type of thing in the rural areas, in the villages. And I watched some videos related to that, and the women were doing. It was their job to do some of the agricultural animal husbandry things where the men were not expected to participate in some of those things. So I think that they've really taken that perspective and just moved it up on a whole nother level. Well, okay, well, if that's what you expect me to do, I'm going to take it to the point where I'm going to start a business out of this. And it's amazing to see. It's really amazing to see.
Mm-hmm. And Catherine, have you noticed, or either one of you, have you noticed that it's a that is it different based on gender? I know you just told a story, Belinda, about what you've observed in the African culture, in the Native African culture. But I wonder if, and it sounds like there's not really a difference based on gender. But I wonder if in other cultures, or is it different in our culture? Is it
Hmm.
different? Is it based on the part of the country you're in, or what town, or what, if you're in the South or in the North? Do you notice a difference in uh, of anything? You notice a difference in terms of the situation for women in farming? You say what?
I think that there is a clear difference, and I think it's from country to country. Like Ms. Belinda was saying, the women in Africa who are farming, their ingenuity is amazing, and they are respected as farmers. And it's the same over in Asia. The women who farm there, they are respected as growers and farmers. I
Mhm.
believe it's part of the, I don't want to call it media corruption, but media influence, we'll call it that in America, where you've been, your perception of a farmer is what it is because that's all you see in a book, that's all you see on television, that's all you've ever been to on a field trip. You know what I mean? So I think it has a lot to do with the way media influences what we know. In
Mama,
other countries, they grow up with, they're out in the field with their mom. You know what I mean?
yes, yes.
Mom will have baby strapped on and she's out there growing stuff and picking stuff, making stuff grow. It's just not that way here. It's not that way here because our food has become so commercialized. Um, Before I moved out to Snellville in 2001, I didn't ever think about where our food came from. So, I mean, that in itself says something, you know?
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's really I don't know. Do either one of you see because of what has happened with the pandemic? Um, is there a shifting of that mindset for America? I
I
mean,
think there is a shifting because people now want to be more involved with, their food choices. They want to see. I think what really happened was when I know that when people began to contact us more when the pandemic hit, it was because the shelves were emptying.
mm,
They weren't able to get what they would normally get. The trucks were not coming in on time, and the deliveries in the grocery stores were backed up. And so they started looking at the farmers like, okay, what do the farmers have? And all of a sudden they realized that that somehow they connected the pandemic with the food industry as well. Like, I don't want to go there to get my food. I want to get it more on a local level now.
mhm,
And I mean, that was for many for local farmers, that was a big thing, because all of a sudden you were being looked at as the food supplier for a lot more people. And it was almost as if there was a, a, a more trust. The trust level was directing itself more towards the local farmer than the local grocer.
mhm. Right. I think the pandemic definitely exposed a kink in America's food chain, and so that
Yeah.
prompted a lot of people to turn to local farmers. Absolutely. What about, are there any organizations available that you feel that will educate or provide resources and support strictly to women when it comes to farming? Because I mean, we're here, we can watch the news every day and see that there's all kinds of opportunities for females, female entrepreneurship who want to start businesses. But I wonder if there's anything available for women who are interested in farming. And I'm thinking you guys know better than I do.
When you find one, let me know. I actually signed up for the National Women Farmers Association, and I get a newsletter in the mailbox every now and again, but support is. I've emailed people, I've reached out, and it feels like more of a showpiece. If all I'm going to get is a newsletter and there's no actual support for the farmer herself, what's the point?
Mhm. Mhm.
So when you find one,
Mhm.
please let me know.
Yeah, there should be some that. Now that sounds like an equity issue. What do you think? What do you think, Miss Belinda?
Um, I don't know very many. I do know that within some of the larger organizations, they may have a branch that's dedicated to women, like for the Farm Bureau. I know that they have women's conferences and that type of thing. And um, you have to kind of look around, like Catherine was saying, you have to really look hard for some place like that. I do want to give a shout out to Miss Jillian Hishaw, whose organization, which is the acronym for the word farms. She has, I don't know, though she does not focus um, primarily on women, it's minority farmers in particular, but she does have an emphasis where she does, work to help female farmers. And I know that she's very open to the needs of the agrarian woman, as you put it, and being a agricultural attorney,
Mhm.
a graduate of Tuskegee. And so she's all into the community and has written a lot of material about the inequities that we face.
Mhm.
And she's done a lot of work. And I know that many of the farmers who've received assistance from her during the pandemic, especially, she focused on small farmers, were women.
Mhm.
And it was just really good to see that support coming from her. Um,
Mhm. Yes. Jillian Hishaw is a highly respected attorney in the agricultural world. She has dedicated her career, you're absolutely right, to helping farmers, especially those, especially clearing up the inequities and the disparities, the racial disparities that exist in the realm of farming.
mhm.
What advice would the two of you give to a woman who wants to? Now, I'll tell you, I'll confess that I had this fantasy. I still have a bit of a fantasy of my own storefront. I just want to get like an acre of land, right? And then like whatever I grow, I like to create some products and sell in the storefront, but not just an acre of land. But don't really. I mean, I'm visiting farms. I'm learning about how to grow different things. I work in the Atlanta forest once a week, but still not really clear on where I could start. So for those who may be like myself, um, interested in in that area, what advice would you give? What advice would you give to someone who is looking to engage in farming? Either one of you, doesn't matter. Don't talk at once. Are you saying, is that supposed to be like you're advising us not to, or what?
No. I guess we're just being polite and waiting on the other on the other person. That's all that is. That's just country hospitality.
I know,
Like,
isn't it?
but I would say find a mentor if possible. One of the female women farmers who's really been a mentor to me and to our family as well is Doris Sanders. Doris Sanders is a peach farmer in the state of South Carolina, and she's an author and a supporter of 4-H and anything agricultural. She's very much into the agriculture, and she loves to give advice. And she's in her 80s, and she and her brother run their family farm, a very successful family farm. So if you can find a mentor who can give you advice, and then maybe not, if you can't find property to purchase, maybe someone who has some property who would allow you to grow some have a dedicate a portion of that property to you. Maybe you could rent or lease a space where you could start small and at least begin gardening. I know some women. There's a young lady who's originally from Africa. I can't remember which country, but she now lives in in France, in Paris, and she has a balcony garden. She just wrote a book, and she grows as much as she can on her balcony. So she's, taking advantage of the space that she has to make an effort to grow more than she was before. So if you can find someone who would lease some property, I know some people do the rent a row or rent some space, and they're just allowing people to do a small plot and grow what they want to grow on that property. So I think that if you start small and see how successful you can be with small steps, and then move gradually forward and participate in growing.
Okay. All right. Katherine, you have something you want to add to that?
I do. My advice is to go to a farm and actually farm. Gardening is not farming.
I farming.
No.
Two completely different things. So before you go all in, before you get your space, make sure it's something that you enjoy. Make sure it's something that you like.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So experience the difference between farming and gardening.
Yes.
Okay.
And it is, yeah, I agree. It is a big difference. But if you're not ready for that jump, you might want to have that small container garden first.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's a wonderful suggestion.
That's one thing I have learned. I think I've had the benefit of volunteering at the food forest, and because we have a garden there, we have about 32 boxes that we grow a variety of things. But when I go visit the farms, it's different. It is different. Right. It's a different feel. It's almost a totally different set of procedures, a totally different application. For everything from what you're going to plant to the soil, how you treat the soil.
Oh yeah.
Right. We have an ongoing conversation about tilling or not tilling. And so, but then when I go to, but the farmers are saying, hey, if we can get away with not tilling, we won't, whereas in the city, it's like, oh yeah, we're going to till, we're going to till or bust. So, that's one of the things. So for the advice, number one, we say find a mentor. Number two, find a space to grow. Either you buy it, you lease it, or someone may want to donate it. Number three, we say start small. Number four, and probably most importantly, is to experience that difference between farming and gardening.
And if I might add, get in touch with your local extension office, because they will definitely have some advice, lots of advice, workshops you can attend that won't be very costly. Connect yourself with a growing community and some people who know what they're doing and can offer some instruction, support, maybe even some seeds and plants. You never know what you might get, and it would be great to connect with a kitchen.
So communicate with the local extension service, because that's what their functionality is. That's what they're supposed to do. That's what it's there for. And a lot of the your major colleges and universities will provide those extension services. They do everything from advising you on how to test your soil, and identifying issues that you may have with unwanted creatures in the garden. It's a great resource.
Mm-hmm. It really is. And whether you have to pay for a program or not, do it. If you really go farming, invest in it. The Journeyman Farmers Program through our extension service might have been the best thing that I did for this journey.
You said the Journeyman Farmers Program?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Well, ladies, thank you so much for being a part of this show. And really, I mean, you each are awesome examples of, especially in the African American community, just letting Black women know that they too, that they can get out and farm, whether it be gardening or actually finding a piece of land and breaking ground and planting crops. I mean, the atmosphere is rich and for us. And now we're going to go ahead and close out. We are having some audio issues. I'm not really sure hello, Reverend David. Thank you for tuning in tonight. We always recognize you and efforts that you put forth in the realm of gender equality, in the realm of understanding climate and understanding how we treat the land, how we treat God's green. We appreciate you for taking part and just tuning in to hear what these ladies have to do. We're going to go ahead and close it. And I leave you with those famous words once again by the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. We're all being affected in some way, shape, or fashion. Katherine spoke earlier about how the pandemic shut her down, shut her farm operation down for a long time. We Miss major farm, she talked about how she experienced uptick in business. And so, in the words of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, whatever affects one directly affects us all indirectly. Good night, everyone. Welcome to Perspectives On, where we're giving the world a voice. We are a faith-based social justice forum where individuals give their perspectives on various topics. It's an opportunity to express their viewpoint, their stance, and their angle on justice issues affecting the community and globally. Each episode features guests presenting their perspective on things like climate change, the church, urban farming, and food insecurity, all through a unique faith lens. Come check us out. Give us your perspective.